Hi, it's Steph from Binkies and Briefcases. Welcome to our channel. Thanks for joining me today. If you're new here, we talk about just our daily life with a larger than average family. We do have 5 children. We talk about foster care and adoption, just daily living stuff, minimizing our lifestyle, and sometimes we share healthy recipes that are quick and easy, like the one I'm going to share with you today. This is a Maryland style crab soup, which can also be made vegan if you just leave the crab out. Quick disclaimer, I was born and raised in Baltimore for the first 22 years of my life. And what we're making today is Maryland style crab soup, but it's a quick and easy weeknight version. So we're going to just use canned crab meat today. If you want like a restaurant style crab soup, that's great. This is not the recipe for you probably, because you're gonna want to go and get jumbo lump crab meat, which is much more expensive than what we're gonna be using today. We're just gonna be using the lump meat in a can. But otherwise it's pretty similar, and I'm really excited to share this with you today. I have a lot of memories associated with this soup from when I was a little girl. Both of my grandmothers had unique recipes for their own crab soup. This is a little bit different than both of them. My dad's mother used to make her own crab stock for the base, boiling live crabs. And my mom's mom had a lot of meat in her soup, so she would put like bacon and chunks of beef in hers. But mine's a little bit different just because I'm trying to make it a little bit healthier and friendlier for a plant-based lifestyle if you do that. So are you ready to get started? It's going to look like a lot of ingredients, but it's going to come together super quickly for an easy weeknight meal in your Instant Pot. Here we go. Okay, I warned you, this is going to look like a lot of ingredients. The good news is that you probably already have most of them in your pantry or your refrigerator. And if you wanted to, you could leave out the fresh ingredients and just use a bag of frozen mixed vegetables and skip the potatoes. But I don't recommend it because I do think that it makes a big difference to have some fresh vegetables and potatoes in the soup. So to get started, we're going to be using 2 carrots, 2 stalks of celery, 2 potatoes. Doesn't matter what kind. You can use red potatoes, russet potatoes, whatever kind of potatoes you have right now. Doesn't matter. We're going to cheat a little bit and be using some diced onion from the store just because I don't like chopping onions. And same thing with the garlic. We're just going to use minced garlic from my refrigerator. I'm going to be using 2 cans of mixed vegetables. I'm just using the Walmart brand today. A can of petite diced tomatoes in juice. Again, if you have crushed tomatoes, if you have whole tomatoes and you just want to break them up, just use whatever you got. It's fine. We're going to be using some kidney beans in the can. We're going to put the whole can in because one of the secret ingredients in our soup that's going to make it a little bit thicker is actually the bean juice, so you want that. We're going to be using a little can of tomato sauce. You can also use a little bit of ketchup, like maybe 2 tablespoons. It'll be fine, don't worry. It's soup. It's all going to cook together in your Instant Pot. It's going to be delicious no matter what you do. I promise you're not going to be able to mess it up. We're going to use 2 bay leaves. We're going to be using 2 cans of lump crab meat. If you want your soup a little more gourmet, like I said, you're going to want to go to the seafood counter or the butcher at your local store and buy jumbo lump crab meat, but that's going to be a lot more expensive. So to get a container, like a 1-pound container of lump crab meat, it's probably going to run you about $20, whereas these cans are about $4 at our grocery store. And you actually can get the not lump meat for even cheaper, but I do recommend the lump because it's going to break up while it's cooking in your Instant Pot. And so if you use just like the cheaper crab meat, like the claw meat or whatever, it's just going to fall apart and you're not really going to be able to tell that there's even any crab in your soup. We are using a little bit of steak sauce as another one of our secret ingredients that's going to make it seem like it's been cooking all day. Just some salt and some Old Bay seafood seasoning. You can find this in the spice aisle of your grocery store. Wherever they're selling salt and pepper and any kind of spices, you should be able to get a small container like this, or even the little containers that are this size. They sell those too. I've lived in 3 different states in the US and I could buy it in all of them. So you should be able to find it, but if you can't, you can look up a recipe for how to make your own. It's usually like celery salt, paprika, crushed red pepper, regular pepper, things like that. And the last secret ingredient we're putting into our soup is just any kind of red wine. It can be cheap, it's just in a soup, it's fine. Don't worry about if the kids can eat it, the alcohol is gonna cook out of it while it's cooking. So you're just gonna wanna use about a cup of whatever kind of red wine. I'm using a Pinot Noir. Okay, so I'm just gonna cut these fresh vegetables and then we're gonna dump everything in our Instant Pot. And I'll be right back as soon as I have these all cut up. Are you ready for the fun part? Okay, so I chopped all my fresh vegetables and I opened all my cans just to make it a little bit quicker to talk to you guys. And one quick tip is that the crab meat is gonna come with paper on top of it. So you wanna take that off, obviously, before you dump these in your soup. But here we go. So I'm gonna start with some chopped onion. I had this bag in the freezer already chopped. You can obviously chop a fresh onion or just buy some frozen chopped onion at your grocery store. In we go. And then I'm going to just put in about a teaspoon of garlic, the equivalent of 1 or 2 cloves of garlic. And then we're just gonna dump all the rest of this in our Instant Pot. Just dump it on in there. We're gonna take all the fresh ingredients, we're gonna dump them in there. And I actually ended up only using 1 of those potatoes because they were really large. So I would say use 1 large or 2 smaller potatoes. Dumping in, I didn't drain any of these cans. I'm dumping in juice and all for every single can. The beans. Again, these are kidney beans. I do suggest a red bean for this soup. These are just mixed vegetables. If you don't have mixed vegetables in your pantry, you can get them frozen, or you could just dump in a can of corn and a can of peas, a can of green beans. It's soup, it's gonna be fine. So 2 cans of mixed vegetables, the tomatoes. One thing about the tomatoes is you can use any kind of tomatoes you want, but I would not get the seasoned kind unless they're seasoned with like just garlic or something that's already in the soup. But you don't want like tomatoes with chilies or anything like that. You wouldn't want that. Some tomato sauce or a couple tablespoons of ketchup. About a teaspoon or so of steak sauce, any kind. This is just our store brand steak sauce. A little bit of salt. I don't think I mentioned this when I told you about the ingredients earlier, but we are going to put in a little bit of black pepper. I don't know, half a teaspoon, something like that. The Old Bay, this is going to be to your taste, and if you're not familiar with it, you're going to want to go a little bit lighter on it. So probably start with like a tablespoon for the whole pot, but if you like spicier food, you can go up from there. And if you're worried about buying a container that you might not know what to do with, you can season any kind of seafood with this. It's great on fish. It's obviously great in soups. It's great on crabs. It's great on steamed shrimp. It's also good on popcorn or on French fries, just as the seasoning sprinkled on top. So I'm gonna put in a decent amount because our family already knows we like it. I do go a little bit lighter than I might for my husband and I just put out extra on the table so that people can season their own. So I put in about the equivalent of probably a tablespoon and a half. And then we're just gonna go around the pan with about a cup of red wine. Not measuring anything. It's gonna turn out fine, I promise. And last but not least, we have 2 bay leaves going in. 1, come on, 2, and then your pot's gonna be pretty full at this point, so I'm just gonna go ahead and add water until I get right below that max fill line in the Instant Pot. So there, if you can see it, it's just below my max fill line, and this is a lot of food, and so it's gonna take a while to come up to pressure. And we are just going to, let me turn this around so you can see it. I have it plugged in already. I'm gonna put the lid on and click it into place. And then I'm going to make sure that I am set to sealing, which is pushed up. You don't want it to be down towards venting. You want it to be pushed up towards sealing. And then right here on my pot, I'm just going to hit the soup button, and then I'm gonna walk away. I'm gonna clean up this mess, and I'm gonna walk away. This is gonna come to pressure and cook for 30 minutes after it comes to pressure. And then we're gonna let it probably naturally release for a while, and then it's done. And it'll be ready either for dinner tonight, or it's actually better if it sits for a day or two, like any soup. But there you go. So I'll be back when it's finished to show you the finished product, and I hope you try making it. And if you're from Baltimore, leave me a comment with your favorite recipe for any kind of crab meat, and thanks for visiting. I almost forgot an ingredient. I told you guys this is a lot of ingredients to remember, but I am also going to be putting in some broth base. You could just use vegetable bouillon. This one's my favorite. It's the Orrington Farms broth base. It's vegan, but it really is really good in soups. And if you don't have that, again, just some vegetable stock, or you could use vegetable stock instead of water, or chicken stock if you have that, or whatever you've got on hand. It just adds a little bit of extra depth and flavor. Okay, so I've been letting the soup naturally release for a few seconds. It did the whole soup cycle, so it came to pressure and then it cooked for 30 minutes, and now it has been resting on the counter for 7 additional minutes. You could leave it a little longer, or you could just do it a quick release right away. Now I'm gonna move that down and let the steam come out. You ready? All right, so I'm just stirring in the broth, and then there we go. Tell me that doesn't look like Maryland crab soup. So I'm just gonna, it's very hot, obviously. It's steaming up the camera. So you're just gonna, excuse me, you're just going to put it in a bowl. We like to serve it with saltine crackers, and put a little bit of the Old Bay out on the table so that people can top it themselves if they would like a little more added spice. All right. Thanks so much for watching today, and please let me know if you try this recipe, and we'd love it if you would like and subscribe to our channel. Thanks.